Hey guys, so today our global discussion is on climate change and global warming. So here, one second. I shared my screen because we're going to go over a PowerPoint first thing. So here's a little PowerPoint that has been prepared for our discussion today. So oops. So it's called Climate Change and You. First of all, you should all know that weather and climate are not the same thing. Many people get that mixed up. And I know all of you are here for the webinar, but we're going to be getting to that shortly. Weather is short-term, limited area. It can also change rapidly. It's very difficult to predict. Weather is what's happening right outside your window right now. I don't know where you live, but out here the sun's setting. It's not very breezy. And yeah, so that's weather. And we're just going to shortly get to climate change. Climate is the average of many years of weather observation. Climate is the long-term weather in a way. It's over a wide area. It includes seasonal changes. It's measured over long spans of time. So like climate, it wouldn't be like a one-day weather forecast. Like it's like, oh, it's raining outside. That's not weather. Climate would be like, what's the overall trend of the weather throughout the entire year? Like that's just an example. There are many more. Climate is affected by many factors. So abiotic factors are non-living factors, and biotic factors are living. So as you can see, latitude, altitude, ocean currents, topography, which is like the landscape, solar radiation, evaporation, orbital variations, and volcanic activity. I don't know where you live again, but volcanic activity isn't very common. Same with ocean currents, unless for ocean currents you live on the coast, and for volcanic activity if you live close to volcanoes. Biotic factors include transpiration, respiration, photosynthesis, decomposition, and digestion. These are, you might be wondering, why is digestion, why does digestion affect climate change? Well, you might be surprised in many ways, and I want you to research that on your own. Greenhouse gases, I wouldn't say are essential, I would say more harmful to our climate for global warming and climate change. So it's basically when heat goes into the earth and then is trapped on the earth because it can't escape out. And that leads to increased warming, more and more warming. And then it's just a vicious cycle that keeps going on. And that's why our earth continues to warm so much. And this is courtesy of LarryJZimmerman.com. It's where the link at the bottom if you want to learn more about this diagram. Planets with very little greenhouse effect are very cold. For example, Pluto. Like, it's out of the sun's orbital too, so that's why not even heat can go and enter. So Pluto's average temperature is negative 370 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost incomprehensible. Like, isn't negative, even like 20 degrees, wouldn't that be freezing for most of you without a jacket? Imagine negative 370. Or they have huge temperature swings at night. Like Mars, there's about a 300-degree Fahrenheit difference between high and low temperatures, which is another reason why it's a miracle that we're here on Earth. No other planet has the same circumstances we have. We are constant. It's just perfect for us to live. There's not too much of one or not too much of the other. Everything that's happening environmentally present day is because of our impacts on it. Planets with abundant greenhouse gases are very hot. The average temperature on Venus is about 855 degrees Fahrenheit. You might be wondering, how? How is this possible? Well, think about it. Venus is right close to the sun, which is also a reason why so much greenhouse gases enter into the planet. And then like Earth, it has the same cycle. It can't escape. And then there's Earth, which is just right, which I just said. A number of greenhouse gases occur naturally in the Earth's atmosphere: water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. Carbon dioxide is naturally, but because of us, it is really going out of swing. With no greenhouse gases at all in Earth's atmosphere, scientists estimate that Earth's average atmospheric temperature would be about negative 18 degrees Celsius, or about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about it. Even though we're getting warmer and warmer, plants would not be able to survive in this type of climate. The greenhouse gas content of the atmosphere is being altered by human activity. This is the result. The result of this change is global warming or climate change. It could be referred to either one, but one's more specific than the other. I'll get to that later. Evidence of climate change comes from many different sources. Glaciers are melting away worldwide. Like as you can see here, the Agassiz Glacier in Montana, 1913, 2005, practically nothing. See, there's just a few there's a couple of droplets of ice here and there. And then look at this one in Austria. It's like grasslands now. You might be like, whoa, that's good, there's life. But you see, these areas used to always be covered with ice, and now they're not because of human activity. Ice cores also yield information and actual samples of Earth's past atmosphere. Like, it just shows how many variations that have been and how we are impacting it. Tree ring data show a warming trend. I know most of you probably don't look at the rings of trees, but for some people, when they cut down trees, just look into one of it. You'll see very different inner compositions. Animal and plant life is also changing. 2/3 of European butterfly species studies have shifted their ranges northward by as much as 150 miles. That's a lot. At Boston's Arnold Arboretum, plants are flowering 8 days earlier on average than they did from 1900 to 1920. That's actually a lot. You might not see how significant that is, but it's an exponential rate. It's not linear. If you know linear goes at the same rate consistently, exponential goes up and then it goes more and more up. That's what's happening because of human activity. Climate changes seem to be accelerating, of course, in states, especially where there's more people, where there's more people populated, the more metropolis-like cities. Like as you can see, New York completely red. They have a high climate change acceleration. More greenhouse gases mean a warmer Earth. As you can see here in this graph, industrial processes 16.8%, which is the second most, and then power stations. These are completely human activities, all of these. Who creates greenhouse gases? Let's get to this. Carbon dioxide, a topic that a lot of us have probably heard about. In the distant past, the Earth was much warmer, as we know, due to the global warming trends. High levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere fueled lush growth, some of it which was stored in the form of fossil fuels. Carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere has risen by about 30% since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Most of the increase is due to the combustion of fossil fuels, which releases the long-stored CO2 back into the atmosphere. Then there's methane. Methane is released by coal mining, landfills, agriculture, and even through the digestive processes of beef and milk cows. So it is natural, but the majority of it that contributes to climate change is not. It's artificial practices that we humans do. Then there's nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is produced by cars, by fossil fuels used for heat and electricity, and by agriculture. If you don't know what it is, check out this website by the EPA.gov that shows you what it is, also safety practices. So what can be done? This is the main thing. Why? How can we help this issue? How can we make a difference? What can we do just sitting at our homes during this pandemic? First, we must admit that climate change is everyone's problem. No agency, government, or scientist can fix it for us. We are all in this together. It's up to all of us to make this change. We got here because of our lifestyle, so our lifestyle has to change. So here are just some things that you can do. Heating and cooling. Install programmable thermostats. Check and repair weather stripping on doors and windows. Keep furnace and AC filters clean. Consider closed off unsuited rooms. And plant deciduous trees on the sunny side of your home. What are other ways you can conserve heat and AC? Think about it. Some towns in Africa do not have heat and AC at all. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, but just find if you don't need it, why turn it on in the first place? Just a thing to consider. Conserve hot water. In the average home, 17% of energy is used to heat water. Take shorter showers. Just to clean yourself, use the soap and the water. Install low-flow shower heads. Insulate hot water pipes. Fix leaky faucets are some of the examples that are shown on this slide. What other ways can you cut down on hot water use? I'm sure there's a lot more. Can you think of any? Conserve in the car. Transportation is a big factor in contributing to problems such as pollution, carbon dioxide release, and ultimately global warming. Carpool, ride on the bus. Support public transportation. Get a smaller car. Best of all, don't use any of forms of carbon using transportation. Walk or bike. Conserve electricity. Make your room next to a laptop. Install timers. Unplug appliances when you're not in use or when you've left the house. Sell appliances that you don't use at all to someone who might actually use them. Just a few examples. Reduce waste. I'm sure we all know about how many ways to reduce waste. And there's no place like home. And there may never be again. Do your part. A lot of people want to go to Mars, but trust me, that doesn't give us an excuse to ruin our Earth and go to Mars, because Mars's conditions will be no better than here on Earth. Here are some of the sources, and these are also great learning sites to learn more about it. And remember, if you want to get involved, say you do have time, there are many committees and stuff around your area, globally, locally, nationally, internationally, that you can join. Just send them an email. For example, I'm a part of Sierra Club, the local one in my town in North Carolina, because I have interest in it. So, but even if you don't have interest, you can still be a member and come to activities every so often. There are many ways you can do your part, especially now that we are in the middle of a pandemic. This should help us realize because of what we have done to nature, nature's effects are harming us. Okay. So now for the discussion. Amy B said, why did climate change when it first happened not get first resolved? Well, this is because when climate change initially occurred, people did not consider it at all. People just thought, oh, it's just a natural cycle of life. So, and of course, economic benefits. Most of the reason why industrialization and things so bad for the environment happened was for money's sake. Money is a necessity to survive, but does this mean to harm the environment? Not necessarily. Any other questions? Janet B. What are my opinions on climate change are that it is just a natural cycle. It does not actually occur. Well, this is debatable, but science shows that it is an actual process. Even though there are cycles, so in 2010 it might be more hot, and in 2012 it might be cooler, there's still an overall linear growth that's still going up. So that shows that human activity does impact it. But I'm not here to debate with your views. This is a discussion for all of us. Jimmy P. My view, I feel like that we should get involved in climate change these days, because now it's getting to a problem that's so bad that none of us will be able to stop it. Yes, that's the problem. If we keep doing what we're doing, it's just going to get worse and worse. And soon it's going to become so bad that it's going to end up it's already impacting us, but do you want it to impact the next generation too? Another question to consider. So today is a short meeting, and we introduced ourselves prior to the recording, but next one is going to be on deforestation, and I'll let all of you participants know the topic later. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at sheelpatelnc@gmail.com. And thank you for visiting our beautiful Earth to attend this webinar. Thank you.